why that even happens. But I guess... No, I don't know why that happens. It's pretty convenient that well, so far I didn't have to use any quaternions. So let me just replace that with up. So what I'd like to do is do both of these at the same time. But you wouldn't be able to see it eventually. Wait, now what is happening? Okay, if I don't do this, then it just gets all the way flat and then stops. If I do only that, then it rotates around in place. What I would expect to happen is that that spinning shape would gradually get more and more flat. So why don't I see that? When it's fast enough, I guess I see that. This is divided by 4. It's doing this sinusoidal thing. I bet there's some way in which it's doing some sort of weird damping. Yeah, I don't know what this is doing. Some sort of weird periodic thing. Now this time multiplying on the left. I'm not doing that again. But okay, I would like to try to control these with the mouse, I think. And I haven't hooked into mouse motion very much. But here, let me do this. Yeah, don't add the updater. Okay, so now it's looking at it from an angle. I'm going to try to pick up the mouse motion so that I can try to hook the mouse motion to rotating the camera. So I think this would be like on drag, on mouse drag. Then I'm going to want to do something. It's already doing camera increment theta and increment phi. I haven't implemented a way to hook into this function yet. Maybe what I can do is just say self.onMouseDrag. Let me see if I can do something janky here. Set atcher self on mouse drag. Then I'll write my own. Buttons, modifiers. I'll just print dragged or something. Just so I can see if that's working. And nothing happened. Which would actually... Oh, I didn't drag. Well, I think it worked. Missing one required positional argument. Drag point what? How would this be missing one positional argument? Point D point buttons modifiers. Should I not be putting self? Though I don't think that... Should I not be putting self? Though I don't think that makes sense. I guess that worked. If I try to print self, I guess self won't be... Well, I guess self is the scene itself. Well, it worked, I guess. So now what I'm going to want to do is rotate it in one of these directions based on the mouth's movement. So I think this is for rotation around the z-axis. So I'll just take the angle to be this. And then rotating around the z-axis was done like this. So I'll try to do z equals angle around z-axis. And see if this... Okay, that appears to be working. Miraculously. So now... Then there's the rotation off the z-axis of the z-axis. This I have less faith in, but we're gonna see. Origin to camera. So I'm getting the origin to camera, find the axis of rotation by crossing the z-axis with that vector. Then I'm getting a rotation matrix about that axis of rotation. Let me get the angle. This is D point index at 1. Okay, getting the rotation matrix around that axis of rotation. Converting to homogeneous coordinates because I have to. Then I'll multiply by the rotation matrix on the left. Okay. Well, there's some issue with it. And that kind of makes me sick. There's something up with the rotation off the z-axis. That's what it is. If I do only this... Yeah, the camera is like rotating. It's hard to describe what's happening, actually. If I rotate 90 degrees and then try to... Yeah, that axis isn't being computed right. Because now it's rotating around the z-axis, I think. If I rotate it back this way, then it's doing closer to what it was doing before. But if I try to rotate and then rotate off the z-axis, then it does something wrong. Darn. So what could this be doing wrong? If it's finding the origin to the camera, finding the axis of rotation by crossing the up vector with that and then rotating around that, that seems right. I guess I didn't have to use quaternions so far, at least. Hmm. Hmm. There has to be something wrong with this computation, I guess. The axis of rotation is across from the up vector to this vector, then rotating around that. Actually, it's not even clear what information would be helpful to debug this. I can tell this is still rotating around the z-axis, but the orientation of the camera has changed. So why is the orientation of the camera changing when I rotate off the z-axis like this? The angle, axis of rotation is both right. Are these both right? It seems like something's rotating the camera in like around this axis, but I can't tell what. I guess I saw something similar to this. I'm gonna comment out the rotation around the z-axis. So at this point, I can only rotate off the z-axis, and it works. Why would it not work after the camera isn't basically above the y-axis? Because initially the camera is above the y-axis like this. Where this is y. And then z is into the screen. Even if this camera gets rotated around the z-axis somewhere, when I cross the z vector with the vector to the camera... Oh, should I normalize these? Is that the problem? I guess up is already normalized. Let's see. Whoops. This is normalized. Wait, no way. I'll just try it. I don't think this will work. I have to do this. So now the rotation matrix is around a normalized axis of rotation. And then I convert it to homogeneous, that's fine. Okay. Well, that was working before. I have to add in... the rotation around the z-axis. No, it's still doing it. I think it got more confusing somehow. What in the world? Yeah, it's still if I rotate by 90 degrees and then do this, it rotates around the wrong axis. But how could that even be? When I cross the up and the origin to camera vectors, and I get this, I'm gonna try crossing just to make sure this is doing what I expect. If I cross the axis of rotation, I'm gonna try crossing just to make sure this is doing what I expect. If I cross the axis of rotation, with the origin to camera vector, this should be 0. Well, not 0. If I dot the axis of rotation to the origin to camera, these should be 0. And if I dot it with up, these should be 0. And those are all 0. E to the negative 16 is 0. And it gets stuck here. If the angle is ever super small, it just gets stuck. And why would that happen? I wonder if there's a better way to do this rotation. What if I did if I translated it to the origin, did the rotation, and then translated it back, so I did that thing? Would that make a difference? Here's what I'm gonna try. Comment out the rotation on the z-axis. Around the z-axis. Then I'm gonna rotate it around the z-axis manually. So here, I rotate it around the x-axis. Here, I'm gonna rotate it around the z-axis. And I'll just do tau over 4. I don't need that. Don't need this. Well, I do need to add that updater. Well, I have the on mouse drag, so that's fine. Okay, so now the camera will be tau over 8 around the x-axis and then tau over 4 around the z-axis. So something like so tau over 8, pretty much parallel to the x-axis, it'll be here. And this will be tau over 8. And then around the z-axis, here it'll be hopefully tau over 4. So it should be like here. Here and looking at the origin. Which is a place from which this rotation off the z-axis, yeah, it stops working. It's rotating around z for some reason. And how is that possible? I want to actually print the cross product. The normalized one. It's in the XZ plane. In the XZ plane. So this is here, negative X. Here's Z. How does that make sense? It's a vector around here. Hold on. I think the camera isn't even where I expect it to be. Why would the square look slanted like this? Why would the square look slanted like this? What could be happening is that the camera is tilted sideways. Because the z-axis, yeah, the z-axis is going through this square. So why would the camera become tilted when I do, basically when I do this? Because this seems perfectly fine. Everything makes sense here. I'm actually going to print its location again. I don't see why the position would change between 0 and 1. Am I printing two different things? Yeah, I am. Okay, so the axis of rotation is the x-axis, and the location of the camera is at the origin? Wait, is get center even the right? I think it was get position or something. Where's the camera? Here, get position, yeah. Okay. So this is going from here, basically, is as close as I can get to 0, 0, 11. That's going down to... in the x direct? Wait. X, Y... So it's above the y-axis here. It's like 0, 11, 0. Which is actually not what I expected. Oh wait, this isn't the z. This is the z-axis. When I rotate this all the way down, it's above the positive z-axis. So in this picture, it's rotating like here. Okay. It still shouldn't cause a problem, although it's not what I expected. And now in this case, this has to be positive x in this direction. I told you guys this was going to be a struggle. I told you. So here it's in the negative z direction. Does that make sense? Wait, this actually doesn't make sense, I think. Why is this a positive or a negative number? When you cross x and y, you get the z direction. This is, when it's looking down, it's supposed to be looking down at the camera. And its position is negative z. So this is the negative z-axis. So when I cross x and y, I'm getting negative z. So this isn't even right-handed. So that's a problem. Dang. Hold on, let me see what I can learn about this coordinate system. If I don't do anything, which means I don't even rotate the camera, but if I just get here and then print the camera's position, when it's looking down at the square, why is it not printing? No, that's only on drag. I'll just print it here. This is what I expect. The camera's position is 0, 0, positive z. This is what I expect. The camera's position is 0, 0, positive z. Okay. If I rotate the camera around the x-axis, what should happen? The camera won't move in this direction. If this coordinate system is right-handed, the camera will move in this direction. Which is still fine, but when I do this, I should see the y-coordinate be negative. Oh, come on. Where is... Yeah, no updater. I'll just put that there. And I do see a negative y value. And a positive x value. Or positive z value, sorry. Negative y value. Positive z value, 0 x value. So that's also correct. But I have to conceptualize that now the camera is there. Looking at the origin. So, why does rotating around the z-axis not seem to work? Here's what I'll try doing. Rotate this camera around the z-axis by pi over 2. Or like tau over 4. So this is the same thing I did before. First, rotating by tau over 8 around the x-axis. Then rotating around the z-axis by tau over 4. So that should bring me like in the xz plane with a y-coordinate of 0. So x is 7, y is also 7, or z is also 7, and y is 0, e to the negative 16. So that's working too. If I do it twice. Okay, now I just have to make sure this is doing what I expect. If I do it twice, it should be over here. X is 0. That makes sense. Y is positive, Z is also positive. Okay, I'm gonna try... The rotation around Z seems to be working here. Here's what I want to see. Rotation around the normal axis seems to fail after I rotate around the z-axis. So what I want to do is step 1, rotate to here, and that's what I did. Here. Step 2, rotate into the YZ plane, like here or whatever. But this is the YZ plane. That's step 2. And that should be this. Just rotation around the z-axis. And the question is now, how can I rotate? I'll say up, back to above the z-axis. Maybe that's the... No, that should be fine. I think that should be fine. And that... Well, what it is in this picture is it's rotating around the y-axis. So I'll just try doing that. If I rotate around the y-axis by negative tau over 8, let's see what this does. Well, it did something I don't expect because there's no square there. Is this correct? Y-axis, positive rotation will be down toward the x-axis. Negative rotation will be up to here, like basically at the z place looking down. And that isn't working. Up to here, like basically at the z place looking down. And that isn't working. That is not working for some reason. So what is this operation doing? What I'm going to try to do is doing this operation gradually. That should give me a visual of the object going out of focus. But this is from position 2. I'm going to try to see where it's going. So I'm going to use this update camera function. And what I'm going to do, rotate around the y-axis in the negative. And rotating the camera around the y-axis in the negative direction should be as simple as multiplying by this matrix. Alright, getting the rotation matrix, y negative tau over 8, should bring me here. Okay. So let me just multiply this by dt. This will probably still go too fast, actually. But this should show me a visual of where the camera's rotating. This actually looks right. It looks like it's continually rotating in this direction, which is showing the square getting thinner and then smaller again. So that's fine. Oh, wait. What did I rotate by? Tau over... I did tau over 4. No, it was tau over 8. So why in the world? It was rotated as if... When I did that rotation, the square wasn't there, which makes me think it rotated this way. Because if it rotated this way, then when it's looking at the square, it would see a flat plane. Negative tau divided by 8. Let me rotate it. I'm going to take off the updater. By commenting this, now there's no updating. If I rotate by negative tau over 8, I see nothing. If I rotate by positive tau over 8, I see the square. So rotating by positive tau over 8 was this direction. Why Isn't that this coordinate system is right-handed? X cross Y gives you Z. From this location, when I rotate around the Y-axis, it should move down. Then the negative Y-axis should move up. You know what this might be? I might just be really bad at math. That might be what's going on here. How do you know that floating Vim? How do you have that floating Vim window running Manim? I'm using an extension called async run. Async run Vim. So this will basically let you run async commands from Vim. By pretty much writing like a config file. It'll let you do that. And I'm using that together with something called float term. And float term basically makes this window appear. Float term. And float term basically makes this window appear. Why are there no pictures? Anyway, it makes a terminal appear. In a floating window. Like that. Or like this. Yeah. No problem. Okay, so here's my new theory. When the camera's positioned like this, and it's looking down, the camera local coordinate system is the same as the global coordinate system. It's like this. X, Y, Z. What happens when I apply this rotation? Well, the coordinate system itself is rotated, I think. Meaning that now, from the camera's perspective, the z-axis points this way. The y-axis points this way, and this is the x-axis, which is still right-handed. Now, when I do step 2, and I rotate around the z-axis, no, that doesn't make sense. Wait, no, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because then when it rotates around the z-axis, it should stay in place. Right? Although maybe it did. Maybe when I rotated around the z-axis? No, it definitely moved, that's for sure. Maybe it moved and then its new coordinate system was with z pointing backwards like this, y pointing up here, and then x pointing like in the y direction, which is still right-handed. But then rotation around y wouldn't like move it upward, would it? Yeah, rotation around y wouldn't move it upward like that, so that doesn't make sense. All right, I think I'm officially stuck. But I guess luckily it's been around 2 hours. So I'm going to call it here and debug this all night. Alternatively, if anyone has an idea why this rotation isn't doing what it's supposed to do, then tell me. I wish I could just share the code and then you guys could run it. but the current Manim version is super far behind. So, which brings me to my other point. If there are community devs, review my PRs. That'd be super helpful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and raid someone. I got a few people here. Let's get someone with pretty low... Has to speak English, though. Let's not make that mistake. Alright, we can raid this person. There's probably a fancier way to do this than doing this on stream, but I don't know it. Okay. Thanks for watching. Say hi. See you in the Discord or the next stream. And help me learn how to rotate in 3 dimensions, because I don't know how to do it. Great. See you. You can just share a branch. I might end up doing that, actually. Thanks. And I'll post about it in the Discord, so be in the Discord. Alright, see you guys.